Hey everybody, my name is Adam Needens, and this is going to be Cultural Diversity, dealing with socioeconomic statuses. How do we handle diversity? First, we need to understand our students in this case. Building relationships with our students, I think, is top priority. Understanding where these students come from, what their backgrounds are, what their home lives may be like, what are their interests, what are their dislikes, what are some things that they have to deal with perhaps on a daily basis, before school, after school, on the weekends, things like that. It's important for us to, as educators, understand everything else that our students deal with, not just things that happen at school. We need to utilize our data and understand our scores and be able to utilize that information that we are given, whether that's our demographics or whether that's student data that we're able to score at school. So it's important for us to be able to utilize all of that. We need to continue to grow and adapt with the changing times. Understand where you are working. Your school may have specific socioeconomic statuses. 20 minutes away, there may be a school completely different than that. So we need to understand where our students are coming from and what their statuses are. We need to also look at what is going on outside of school for these students, as well as their academics. How can we perform or help them perform better academically? We need to look at a few socioeconomic factors. You have the family, where these students are coming from, what their experiences are with their family, what are those families into, what's a top priority for that family may determine what top priorities are for that student. Individual students, understanding the needs of each individualized student. Now, we can always look at academics, but what is contributing to those academics that maybe we don't have a ton of control over? We also need to look at our teachers. How are they culturally diverse in a socioeconomic standard? And how do those teachers then deal with having perhaps students that are very socioeconomically diverse? Maybe you have students that come from a very wealthy background and students that come from not so wealthy backgrounds, and we need to be able to adapt and continue their education for both ends of the spectrum. We need to be culturally have a good perspective of what the culture is in our building. So understanding the needs of each individualized child with their background. We need to the need to be program centric and socio-centric will lead us to being student-centric. And I think student-centric is top priority, or the goal to continue on with their knowledge. So being able to get the program attached with the socio-centric area will lead us hopefully to understanding what our students' needs are. Then we go to the sociocentric information. Once we have that information, we're able to utilize all of that and hopefully utilize all that for better experiences for ourselves and for our school and for the students, which in turn should lead to a change in academics, a better knowledge background for those students is what our hope would be. Is everyone supposed to be the same? No, of course not. That's not what we're saying here. We're not trying to unify all of our students into one uniformed student. That's not what we need. We need diversity. We need students to be different and unique. We need to accept those and celebrate it. Some of those students may come into our building with a background that says you don't need to finish school, or you don't need to finish high school, or you don't need to go to college, or whatever it may be. It may be completely on the other end of the spectrum where you better go to college, you better have a degree, you better get a certain type of job. So our job as educators is to make them as successful as possible in whatever they're going to be passionate about, and then have a celebration about that. Celebrate what makes them different. You're going to have students that maybe a win for them is being an electrician. Maybe a win for another student is being a teacher. Maybe a win for another student is being an astronaut. You can continue on and on with those. What is going to make that student successful? We need to have that background knowledge to have a base and continue on with that student and build up to the top of the pyramid to whatever they want to be. And let's celebrate their uniqueness and challenge them to be the best that they can be, not what's best for every student in a uniformed manner. We need to understand that every student is going to be different in the long run. You look at this statement here. I'm not going to read it word for word, but basically what this is telling us is that we need to continue to adapt as teachers, as educators. There's not one form that's going to continue to work for each individual person. We need to understand that it's going to take multiple facets of our teaching to expand to every single student. We need to continue to adapt to suit those requirements. While there's not just one way to go about all of this stuff, we need to understand that all these students are expecting us to do our job, and all these parents are expecting us to do our job to benefit those students, and we need to make sure that we're benefiting every single student. The reference I used was a Bloom's taxonomy Google Scholar, so if you're needing to take a look at that, there it is, and thank you for your time.